Australia won the opening Ashes test by a narrow margin of 2 wickets, it's time for Bazball versus Ron Ball 2.0, or the battle of the two coaches of England and Australia for the urn. Joining me at this hour to talk about what's expected at Lord's is former Australian pacer Jason Gillespie. Thank you very much for joining us. The first test narrowly won by Australia. Would you say, Jason, that Bazball is backfiring on England?
No, Rico, I don't think Bazball's misfiring. I think what it is incredibly entertaining, isn't it? I think we've loved that. I think what it showed, England had chances, and let's be honest, they should have actually won that game. They had the running of the game for the most part. I think they just, a couple of key moments, missing key opportunities, cost them. And so, no, I don't think Bazball is unravelling. I think what this game showed was that there are more than one way to win a game of cricket. Australia scored it 3 and over and then 2.5 and over in their innings. England scored it 5 and then 4.5 or whatever like that. So they both went about it very differently. Australia went very conservative with their fields. England went really positive, then went a bit conservative with their fields when they were out in the field bowling. And I thought it was a seesawing test match. It went, it had ebbs and flows, and I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful entertainment. I really did. And I think if that first test is anything to go by, I think we're in for a brilliant series. So very excited about it. It's not unravelling, Bazball. I expect England to come back pretty hard. But it'll be interesting to see what the surface looks like at Lord's come Wednesday morning.
Well, Jason, since I have an Australian on me, I have to ask about the series prediction. Would you go with a 5-0 prediction just like Glenn McGrath used to do?
No, I'm not going to go 5-0. Not like Glenn McGrath. I'm not going to do a Glenn McGrath or go 5-0. I did say at the start of the series, Rika, I thought 3-1 to Australia. And at the moment, I'm going to stick to that because we're 1 of 3 games there, so we're 1-0 up. I expect England to come back pretty hard. But, yeah, I'm going to say 3-1 to Australia.
Mm-hmm. Now, on to the Lord's Test. How does the dynamic really change from here? How do you think that Australia will do things different while England will try to catch up because they are 1-0 behind in the series?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things I think could happen. One is Australia might look to play Mitchell Starc, left armour, bit of left arm variety, because you've got Hazelwood, Cummins and Boland, and they're all quite similar bowlers. Like, yes, Cummins is a little bit quicker, but they're all essentially similar type bowlers. I think Mitchell Starc, left arm variety. We saw that England actually were obviously playing aggressive batting, but they were really aggressive when Scott Boland came on to bowl, which I think is a sign of respect for Scott Boland. They tended to go hard at him. So I think if there's a change to be made, potentially one of Hazelwood or Boland will drop out for Mitchell Starc. And then the other one I think that's just bubbling away is Cameron Green didn't actually bowl very much in the first test. And if Australia look, they obviously feel he's in the best 6 batters, so that's no problem. Mm-hmm. But if they feel they need some bowling support for the 3 seamers, they may look to give Cameron Green a rest and play Mitchell Marsh in that number 6 spot, because Mitchell can also bowl seamers. So they're the possible things that Australia could do. And the reason I say this, Rika, is because this Ashes series is the most condensed Ashes series in history. It's 5 games in about 6 or 7 weeks. So very condensed. Bowlers are going to be asked to do a lot of work in a short space of time. So they might look to keep it fresh. I think both teams are going to have the same challenges. And I just wonder if Australia may look at resting or rotating 1 or 2 of their seamers throughout the series, because obviously their captain, Pat Cummins, is in an ideal world, would play every test. So
True.
if he's bowling in a three-man attack, that might be quite a challenge for him.
We understand that managing bowling resources will be key to Australia, but let's talk a little bit about their batters. David Warner's form, would you say that's a big worry?
I think they had that concern going into the test series. I actually liked what I saw with Davey in the first test, with David Warner. I thought he looked okay. And the fact that England have asked the curators to prepare batting wickets, like good surfaces to bat on, I think that actually works in David's favour, because he's had some trouble in England with the Duke ball, with the seam and the swing. And, you know, we know Stuart Broad's got him out a number of times. So he's struggled with that a little bit. With the surfaces being better and more batter friendly, I think that actually helps David Warner. So, look, I think if he fails in the next couple of tests, Australia may look to make a change. But I suspect he'll play the whole series. And I suspect if the surfaces are what they're going to, like they were at Edgbaston, I expect him to make quite a few runs.
Well, let me ask you about England's Achilles heel. What do you think are their Achilles heel?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. What is England's Achilles heel? I think their Achilles heel is probably their spin bowling at the moment, particularly with Moeen Ali with his finger. Joe Root, I think, did a serviceable job bowling in the test match. But if they're going to pick this young kid, Rehan Ahmed, I think they'll be a little bit concerned about that, knowing that Australia will look to be really aggressive against the young spinner and put him off his game. So I would probably say that. And the other thing I'd say would be England's Achilles heel is if they are not adaptable. So what I mean by that is this Bazball philosophy of cricket, they need to be flexible in their thinking, and if there might be times when they have to play slightly differently depending on conditions or the surface or whatever, they may need to slightly tweak that philosophy to adjust to a game situation. And if they're not willing to do that, that potentially is an Achilles heel for them.
Right, very interesting observation there, that they need to look beyond Bazball if there is a moment that moments come to them like that, when they have to be adjustable and adaptable. Thank you very much, Jason, for joining us.